Hello, my name is Debrawn Wagner, and from the short story collection, I chose James Baldwin, Going to Meet the Man. Going to Meet the Man was written in 1965. It consists of 8 short stories. It coincides with the historical aspect of race, religion, and love and hatred, and how it all coincides in life. Um, had been read, if it had been read in 1965 or received in 1965, it probably would have had like split criticism. The blacks, I'm sure they would have loved it. Whites, some of them not so much, although it probably would have been embraced by literary personnel with respect. But I could foresee death threats to him, to James Baldwin, for this work of art here. Historical era is could be said to be portrayed as highly religious, and every single short story that was written within this collection here, there's a reference to something of religion, Christianity. Some stories more than others. Some stories held true to almost the sinner. The sinner, having to repent. If I could recall a story, that one would probably be of the piano player and his brother. Sonny's Blues. It's probably the best one to say. This one dealt with 2 brothers, an older one and a younger one. The older one was a school teacher. The younger one was he wanted to play jazz, be a piano artist, and he got wrapped up in a life that plagued a lot of other black musicians in that time, caught up with heroin and drugs and living that life that a musician lived. And luckily he found his brother again later on in life, and that's where the story leaves off, is the 2 of them, But the historical era does occur during a large, especially in Harlem, where there was a lot of music being produced out of that city in New York, jazz, blues, and that sort of thing. It all coincides there, but the stories all weren't in the North, in Harlem, in New York. Some of them occurred in the South. 2 I could recall. The last one being Going to Meet the Man was done in the South, and there was another one, if I could recall. Give me a second. The Man-Child. The Man-Child was a story of a farmer and his family. He had a son, a wife, and a best friend. And they shared good times, and it turned, the friend, there was something particular about the friend, that he had problems, and there wasn't much anyone could do to help him. But they treated him with a lot of respect, a lot of love. They fed him, they sheltered him, and yet despite all of that, he couldn't deal with the reality that his wife left him. He had no sons to bear. He lost all his land to his friend, and he wound up taking his best friend's son into a barn one day and just choking him to death. And this work of art here, it really depicts the coldest realities of the North, the South, races of black and white, whether it spans from here in America or to France. There was a story that that was built in France that you could say really touched home with that. That story was, this morning, this evening, so soon. That story, the main character, the father of a family, he born in America in the South. He moved to France, and he found a woman, started a family. He had a son, and they were doing really well, but he had to, because of his job, he was an actor and a singer, he had to go to, back to America to do some things and come back to France. But every time he would go back to America, it'd be a culture shock because the two worlds treated him so differently. In America, he was treated like a boy, while in France, he was treated like a man. And that's how it was. But ultimately, I can describe this work of art historically as accurate and true to its time, and culturally enriching and enlightening.